Total Screen proudly presents their official podcast, On Screen, with your hosts, Tyson Gifford and William Roerig. Hello, everybody, and welcome to On Screen, the official podcast of the Total Screen. My name is Tyson.
My name is Will.
And today we are going to be talking mostly about Comic-Con, almost entirely about Comic-Con, but a few other kind of shows and movies and stuff slipped in, or even things that were covered in Comic-Con, like other stuff has come out since Comic-Con and stuff, or right before Comic-Con. And we're going to kind of cover all of that together as if it all happened at Comic-Con, because really Comic-Con it's a season more than an event, right?
Yeah, it's the season of Comic-Con.
Yeah, so it's just kind of anything that happens around this time within specific genres is pretty much Comic-Con to me. So let's start off with our news segment, our primary segment of the day, On Beat. On Beat is, of course, our news segment, and as I said, we are going to be talking about Comic-Con, and I guess the way to say it would be Comic-Con adjacent stuff. So, we're going to kick things off, starting kind of, I think I have a nice order of the way I have things laid out, kind of in the importance and how big they were and stuff, and the type of stuff it is. I'm going to start off with John Wick 4. We got like a little 1-minute trailer for it.
Mm-hmm.
What I liked about this trailer is that to me, John Wick is like 3 things.
Okay.
And 3 things only. Most movies are like 10 things, you know? John Wick is 3 things. John Wick is mood, John Wick is action, and John Wick is world building. And that's it.
Okay.
There's no real plot. There's no real character development. It's just about those 3 things. And I think besides world building, which we've already kind of covered in the other John Wick movies, this trailer basically had 2 of those things. Mood and action. And that's it. Like, it didn't tell you anything. You just saw some cool, like, gun shooting scenes, and that was it.
But you don't want a trailer to tell you too much. So.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think if you made a trailer that tried to tell you the story of John Wick, it's like, who cares?
Right, yeah.
Like, this is John Wick, you know? Why do I care about that? All I want to see is Keanu Reeves doing cool, like, gun fu shit.
Well, that's what we got in this trailer, so.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. I think that's what made it, like, a really good trailer, is it's just straight up, like, cool, brutal stunt and action stuff. And
nice.
that's exactly what it should be. So, I like that trailer. What did you think?
Yeah, it looked cool.
Are you up on the John Wick movies? Have you seen them all, or?
No. I was hoping he wasn't going to ask me that. Yeah.
You should watch them, definitely. I remember the first time I heard about John Wick, besides just like seeing some random commercial for it and not really paying attention to it. Some guy that I was like at a bar for a friend's like going away party, and he was like this drunk guy who just kept talking about how amazing John Wick was and kept showing everybody clips of it on his phone. And then I was like, yeah, it looks okay, I guess, you know? And then like I ended up catching it on cable one night, and I was like, oh, okay, this is actually really cool.
Nice.
But it's just, like I said, it's just those 3 things. It's world building, it's a mood, and it is action. That's it. You know, there's no character development. There's nothing else. It's all any kind of cool moments like that feel like it could be a story beat. It's all just mood setting. That's all it is. I'm looking forward to that. We also got a trailer, not really a trailer, but like a series of clips for the new Beavis and Butthead series, which I still haven't seen the movie, but we're going to be discussing that next week. We'll talk about that at the end of the podcast. You've seen the new movie for it.
Yeah.
What did you think about the clips you saw for this new season?
I only watched 1 clip.
Okay.
And it was
the dumpster
funny.
Fire?
Yes, it was the dumpster fire, and it was hilarious. Like the setup and just like it's one of those things at first you're like, okay, where's this going? And then when you see like where it's going, like it's hilarious because it's like the opposite of what you expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run around the track 4 times.
Yeah.
Total of 1 mile.
Yeah. And Beavis is just like confused by like these orders until like he has it put out there. He's like, that fire sucked.
That was a really funny scene. After that, they showed a scene. I think it was just 2 scenes, really. They were trying to show in the early Beavis and Butthead, it was music videos that they were.
Oh, are they're reacting to the TikTok?
Yeah, so it's like in the.
Yeah,
did you see
that.
the last time they rebooted Beavis and Butthead?
So
where
like
they did like instead of music videos, they would do like reality TV shows and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, now they're doing TikToks apparently.
Or just internet videos in general, yeah.
Yeah. TikTok.
Which was okay. I kind of almost just wish they'd bring back music videos, because music videos are still made, but they're not like a thing anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it would be kind of cool if they actually just brought back music videos, you know?
I guess, but I don't know if music videos are even worth it at this point. Like, what music videos are even worth watching? Like, back then in the 90s, they had stuff like, one of their best ones, I saw a clip of, is still the one where they did, like, Metallica's One.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
and
for example, Steven Spielberg just shot
I love it because, like, I was rewatching that. I was watching that clip, and it was like, it comes on with, like, one, and Beavis is like, who are these guys? And, like, Butthead's just like, you should know, Beavis, it's Metallica.
He's wearing a shirt that says Metallica.
Yeah. And Beavis is like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I actually watched a video on YouTube that was talking about the influence of Beavis and Butthead with music and stuff. And one of the things that was interesting is that a lot of the videos that they would play, they were not like the popular videos on MTV. They were like more obscure things.
Right, yeah.
And it was exposing people to these kind of things. That's why I kind of wish they were doing music videos again, because there's still a lot of bands putting out music videos. There's still a lot of interesting music videos being made. Like I said, Steven Spielberg just did a music video. Shot a music video on his phone or something.
Right, yeah, I saw that.
Sure, we don't have as much competition. Like, for example, David Fincher cut his teeth on music videos, and he's not really doing that anymore. We don't really have crazy auteurs like that really working in music videos as much anymore. But there's still some cool music videos and, you know, some interesting bands doing weird stuff, you know, that, like, if they went not necessarily the popular route, but just found some obscure music videos and stuff, I think it would be kind of cool. Another way to kind of, like, expose people to that kind of stuff. I mean, did you think you would have ever heard the song Detachable Penis if it wasn't for Beavis and Butthead?
Probably. No, actually, maybe because, like, it did come on the radio at one point.
But did it come on the radio because of Beavis and Butthead?
That's hard to say. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a possibility.
How many of us would have heard of Primus if it wasn't for Beavis and Butthead?
Right, yeah.
And Primus, I remember Primus being big with a lot of my friends and seeing it around with our stuff, but the first time I ever saw Primus was on Beavis and Butthead. You know, so it's like that kind of stuff. It's like weird bands that you don't think you'd otherwise see. But anyways, that clip was really funny. I'm looking forward to seeing more of Beavis and Butthead. We got several clips for Sandman and one key trailer. That was the real Comic-Con part. We got kind of what looks like more of a solid villain in play now. I don't really have that much familiarity with the comics.
Yeah, that guy's the villain of the series.
Yeah, like we didn't really see that before. And now we see like, okay, this he's got a lot of confidence. He's kind of like, it seems like he's manipulating people into like doing things that are getting them in over their heads, but are causing trouble for this family.
Right, yeah.
Gods or whatever they are.
Yeah, well, they're the Endless. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, he seems to be causing trouble for the Endless by manipulating other people into doing things that cause damage to them. I thought that was interesting because like I said, I haven't read the comics, so I'm not aware of any of that, you know? So I always like it when a story actually has like a real, true, credible villain to it, you know? And
right.
So it was cool seeing that. Did you watch the 2 clips that were put up too?
Yeah, I watched both clips. Gwendolyn Christie as Lucifer is fantastic.
Yeah.
I like that.
I liked that, and that's the scene I think that made me really like Dream. Cause like we've only seen him in like ambiguous roles before, or ambiguous scenes, where it's like, oh, he has a look to him, or oh, he looks deep in contemplation. But here we have him like basically standing down Lucifer. And like, I love it when she was like, oh, I didn't think you'd turn and run. And he like was pouring the sand out on the ground. And you know what I mean? Like exerting some dominance. I thought that was like a really cool scene.
Yeah, that was a really awesome scene. I like that. I think, I'm going to enjoy this.
Yeah, I also like the scene with Death with, I thought that was a polar opposite type of scene, you know?
Right, yeah. That was a nice, touching scene.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. The trailer looked great again, like I said, and Sandman is going to be one we're probably going to discuss on this podcast. I'm almost sure, unless we watch it and get like 2 episodes in, or like, oh, we just do not want to watch any more of this, which I doubt will happen. Unless that happens, we should be covering Sandman again at some point on this podcast. Next, we had like a behind the scenes trailer type of thing for Wheel of Time season 2. Now, I know you haven't, I don't believe have watched the first season of Wheel of Time. So all of this is probably just nothing to you.
Yeah, I haven't watched that show at all. So
it's probably just like, oh, that guy's hairstyle's pretty interesting, or like, oh, look, they're on a beach.
I guess.
I think it looks pretty good. Wheel of Time was kind of a mixed bag. There were parts of it that were really cool, and then there were parts that were just felt kind of clumsy and cheap. In some ways, it felt very much similar to the complaints I have about The Witcher, where you know, like there's that era of like syndicated fantasy that we always associate it with like Hercules and Xena, but there were a bunch of other shows that did that too, like Legend of the Seeker and other ones that were like some based on actually good fantasy books, but they were just really cheaply done fantasy kind of shows that were filmed usually in New Zealand or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
yeah.
There's like a whole era of that. And that's Wheel of Time kind of still feels like it fits into that. Like it feels higher production, like it feels much more expensive than those, but it feels like the same kind of, I don't know, like core principles in play as like one of those shows. So, the problem is that there isn't a Henry Cavill. Like, you know, Witcher,
right, yeah.
I think would feel a lot cheaper to a lot more people if it wasn't for Henry Cavill. He's the one that like elevates that and makes it like really, like makes you really pay attention to it. I think if he wasn't in it, it would feel much cheaper than I think a lot of people, when they think about it, like what they envision. But yeah, Wheel of Time is kind of, to me, it's similar to like The Witcher. It's like The Witcher without Henry Cavill. It's like that kind of quality. So,
right.
But I thought it looked pretty good. The next one kind of came almost out of nowhere. Like I remember details about this movie being made, but like just didn't pay attention to them at all because the last several movies made based on this franchise were utter garbage.
Oh yeah, they were. Like Jesus, they were bad.
But this one, and we're talking of course about Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, this one actually was like a Comic-Con hit. Like people have been talking about this a lot around Comic-Con.
It looked fine. I saw the trailer. It looks like a fun movie.
That's the key point.
Yeah,
a lot of these fantasy series that are coming out, fantasy movies are like really serious.
It looks like it's trying. It looks like it's trying to mimic the tone of a Marvel movie, which is
just
fine.
like a D&D game, you know?
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't know about that, but
it
really looks like it's copying the Marvel blueprint and porting that over to Dungeons and Dragons. And, you know, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. It looked entertaining. Like it had that humor. It had that tone to it. It's a fun time. I'll probably watch that, you know, when that comes out, like, not at theaters, but like, when it comes out to like streaming, I'll probably watch it.
I think the thing that people really liked about it is specifically that it looks fun versus taking itself too seriously. And I think that's why it's like a better representation of its source material, because like, and I've heard people talk about that specifically, that it kind of feels like the imagination, the collective imagination of a group of friends playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
That's what it feels like. It feels like you're looking at Chris Pine and you're seeing Chris Pine, but you're also kind of seeing some dork sitting at a table with a bag of Doritos playing Chris Pine. You know what I mean? Like there's that kind of vibe to it, you know?
You're seeing Mike from Stranger Things.
Yeah, playing Chris Pine. Yeah, it's like there's that kind of vibe to it, you know? And on top of that, it just looks really stylish and fun. There were some pretty cool shots. There's a cool like rotating shot that was like kind of reminiscent of some of the stuff that was in this season of Stranger Things, oddly enough.
That's the ending. The movie ends and then it cuts to the cast of Stranger Things, and it turns out that was their D&D campaign.
Yeah. It's funny because there aren't that many like big characters in the actual Dungeons and Dragons lore, and Stranger Things has used a lot of them. You know,
right?
Like
yeah, right. Yeah,
the Demogorgon and stuff like that. It'd be funny if like they're gonna go like, "Oh, there's the Demogorgon," and people are gonna be like, "What?"
Yeah, people are gonna be confused as hell. Yeah, yeah.
But for the most part, it looks like a really fun fantasy movie, which makes it kind of stand out amongst all the other fantasy stuff that's out here now, which is more serious, you know?
Right.
Next up, and this was kind of a later arrival, but House of the Dragon got an extended trailer. It had just had a trailer like not too long before, and so this was just like an extended version of that trailer.
Yeah, didn't we talk about the trailer last week?
We already talked about the trailer. I don't think there's too much more to talk about because we're not just talking about trailers, but what was discussed at E3, or not E3, at Comic-Con.
Yeah, like House of the Dragon had a whole panel at Comic-Con.
The only really notable
they
thing
asked
I heard
Matt
about
Smith about a bunch of questions about Morbius.
I was going to say that's the only notable thing that I heard from the panel was some fan asking a really dumb question about Morbius, and Matt Smith basically at first being confused and then being kind of like kind of putting down the guy a little bit.
He got asked two different questions. He got asked like, "Is it Morbin time?" And like he was like, "What's that?" Like apparently Matt Smith is not familiar with the meme. And then like, I don't know if it's the same fan or like somebody else asked him like, what would Morbius do if he was in Westeros?
Yeah.
And I only got this through text, but in the text, like, I can imagine he sounded annoyed. Like, he just,
the way he ended the comment, he sounded annoyed, but he actually answered the question before he got annoyed.
Yeah, he said, I'd imagine he'd struggle, but I think you watched a different movie than I did, or something.
No, I think he said something like, he gave like a serious question. He's all, he'd struggle. He's a vampire after all. So he gave the honest thing, and then he said, but thanks for watching a different movie, or something.
Right, yeah.
Which I thought that was good, because I don't think a question like that deserves like a real serious response, but he actually gave it a serious response
because
and
he
then
was there
bashed the question, which I think is like perfect.
Yeah, that was perfect. Yeah, because he was there to promote House of the Dragon. He wanted to take questions about that, not about freaking Morbius. Like, Jesus.
So, speaking of big fantasy shows, again, we had just had like a teaser, and now we got like an actual kind of trailer that gives us kind of more of a plot idea for Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power.
The Rise of Sauron.
The Rise of Eminem.
Yeah, Eminem. I saw that. I couldn't unsee it.
Yeah. Apparently that might not even be Sauron, the actress. It was an actress, by the way. It wasn't an actor, apparently. And she said that she is not playing Sauron. She's playing a different character.
Oh, okay.
So there's like a lot of people just jump to that conclusion. I don't know the details on that. And that could also be just classic deflection. Like Andrew Garfield saying he wasn't in the new Spider-Man movie, you know?
Right, yeah.
It could be that her character is introduced and then you find out later it's Sauron, Sauron, because Sauron is a shapeshifter, so he could kind of take on any appearance.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it looks good. I think they set up a lot of cool, like, moody shots. It looked interesting.
Oh, yeah,
cool
it does.
See the orcs in action.
It's nice to see, like there's a lot more stuff I'm interested in this year. Sandman looks great. Lord of the Rings looks great. I'm pretty positive on this stuff.
I love that one shot in the trailer where the guy leans at a kid and says, have you heard of this Sauron? And he like falls backwards and you see this creepy hand. I think it's from a different scene, but the way they cut it together was really cool. Like this like orc like lifting himself up or something. And then you see like the sword that kind of forms out of ashes. It's just a really cool looking shot. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is giving me like serious Lord of the Rings vibes now. Yeah, where before it was like, oh, you'd get big scenic shots, but otherwise it wasn't really doing that same feeling for me. And now it is, you know?
Right.
We got one more movie that wasn't at Comic-Con. Samaritan. We won't talk too much about it. It wasn't at Comic-Con. The trailer just came out today on Wednesday, but it fits in enough with what the kind of stuff we're talking about that I figured we should do that before we get to like DC and Marvel. What do you think? What did you think of the Samaritan trailer?
Weirdly, the second kid discovers an adult is a superhero movie that is coming out soon, because we got like Secret Base. With Owen Wilson.
Oh, yeah, that's
almost
true.
The same
that skews much younger though.
Yeah, it does.
Secret Base is like Spy Kids.
Yeah, that's like Spy Kids, yeah. But no, I thought it looked decent. I thought it looked alright. It's interesting because like, I guess it's taking an interesting angle in which like Stallone is like, he's a retired superhero and he doesn't really want to go back to that life or even like acknowledge it. And he's being forced to acknowledge it because like this kid coming into his life and like finding out about it.
What was the Will Smith movie that was kind of like where he played a retired? Yeah, it kind of gives me a little bit of Hancock vibe. The only difference is that in Hancock, everybody knows who he is, you know?
Right.
Whereas in this, he's kind of disappeared.
Yeah, he's disappeared. People think the world thinks Samaritan is dead, apparently. Mm-hmm. And then like this kid gets involved and then like these criminals get involved for some reason because I guess like through the kid hanging around and digging him up, they find out also that Samaritan is still alive and they start to go after him.
I'm imagining there's some other plot threads we don't know about that are going to tie into that.
But that's what I got, like, from the trailer.
The kid's father ran away and owed money to these criminals or something. There's going to be some other way that it ties it together, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, I think it looks really cool. I think if you're going to do kind of like an aging old guy superhero thing, I think this is kind of like the right way to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it looked decent.
It was cool seeing a lot of actors that are like in the MCU and stuff that were in this, like in like brief parts throughout the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, what's his name from the one teacher from Spider-Man, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
And then, I think, what's that guy's name in Shang-Chi, the guy with the sword for an arm?
I don't remember.
I think he was one of the main villain characters in it.
Yeah.
I was just seeing a lot of familiar faces. I didn't really have a lot of time to analyze it and look it up or anything, but I'm like, okay, there's a lot of like familiar MCU faces in here, like bit part MCU players that are in this, it looked like, including Stallone himself. Don't forget, he's also in the MCU.
Yeah, he was in the Guardians. Yeah.
So, I think it looks pretty cool, but there's not too much else to say about that at the time. So let's move on. You said you want to talk about DC and their lack of presence.
Yeah. So I was kind of like, okay, what's DC got? Because they got a lot of stuff in development. You know, they have the Flash. They have a sequel to Aquaman.
Are they going to show the Flash right now?
No. Yeah, they were not going to have Ezra Miller come to Comic-Con. That would have been super weird.
And what's their other big DC started as a Snyderverse movie that they have that they probably don't want to show?
I have
Aquaman 2 with Amber Heard.
Yeah, they have Aquaman. Yeah, they have Batgirl in development. You know, Batgirl actually, I think, finished filming. They could have brought that.
I think they're in a sticky situation because I know, for example, Michael Keaton shows up as Batman in The Flash and in the Batgirl movie.
Yeah.
But he first shows up in Flash. And now they have to navigate that.
But they decided to show up with only 2 movies, and those movies were Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and Black Adam.
Yeah. I really liked Shazam, the first movie.
Yeah.
This one is not looking too interesting to me. The first one, it was like Big, but with superheroes. And this one just looks like if they made a sequel to Big.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not that interesting anymore, you know? Right. Like, it was interesting the first time, but it's not. I kind of wish they had just waited and did, the Black Adam, crossover.
The sequel to Big and Friends.
They really should have, the second Shazam movie should have been about Black Adam.
Yeah, but it looks like that's
separated
not going to be, they separated them. Black Adam
that was a bad idea.
Movie. Of the 2 movies, I think Black Adam looks better.
But how much better would it have been than either of them if it was Shazam versus Black Adam or something?
Yeah, they're going to do that eventually.
Yeah, by that time the kids are going to be older than Zachary Levi was in the first one. It's already like they had the kid called out Shazam and he grew like 1 inch.
Yeah.
It was like, okay. At this point, should he just like bulk him up and not have Zachary Levi in the movie or something?
Right.
Because I mean, he pretty much looks like he could be at that age already, you know?
But Black Adam looked cool. Obviously, The Rock really nails the part as like this villain / anti-hero. You know, they got the Justice Society in it. They have Dr. Fate. The Rock apparently put on a huge show at Comic-Con. He appeared in full costume as Black Adam, and like they had him floating on the stage with like thunder special effects around him. And they also had like they get everybody in the audience, like their lanyard had like an activation thing, so like he was able to like point or wave and like activate everybody's lanyard. So like that's The Rock. He's a showman. He likes to show off.
Yeah, I honestly think that as much as I like The Rock for this role, I think The Rock's like, and I don't mean this 100% in a negative way, but like The Rock's like ego is like hurting what would have worked better, which would have been The Rock appearing in a Shazam movie. The fact that he's getting his own movie instead of being a part of a Shazam movie, I think is like weaker than what we could have had. You know, what was originally planned, basically.
And this movie was like a passion project for The Rock, because he's like producing this and everything, and he was a big force in like getting this film made. But
yeah, I mean, and I understand that for him. It's like, you know, who doesn't want to be like a ultra powerful superhero and have that vehicle built around for you, and to have it be something that you're deeply involved in the creation of, you know?
Right, yeah.
That's really cool for him. It doesn't make a good movie, you know? Like,
let's talk about what didn't happen, which the rumors swirling around Henry Cavill was going to show up and announce a new Superman project or multiple Superman projects.
No, he bought some Warhammer 40K stuff, and
yeah.
we won't see him for another 4 years.
Right, yeah. He was not there. And so that kind of got me worried about Marvel, but thankfully Marvel was the complete opposite. They came to Comic-Con.
They only really showed 3 trailers, though.
They showed 3 trailers, but like
us, I should say.
Yeah, the amount
to
of
the Comic-Con audience, they showed a lot more.
the amount of logos they showed, though, woof, man. If you're a fan of logos for movies, man, they got you this year.
If you like those phase flowcharts,
yeah,
it was Christmas for you. You got 3 of them.
Yeah, you got 3 of them. Yeah.
You got the newly finalized Phase 4 flowchart. You got the Phase 5 flowchart, and then you got, or most of the Phase 5 flowchart, and then you got a little preliminary
Phase 6. Yeah.
I saw some people going like, so X-Men's not even in Phase 6? It's like, well, actually, there's a lot of blank spots. It could very well be.
There's 3 movies in Phase 6 currently.
Yeah. It could still be in Phase 6.
They just clarified Fantastic Four is going to be the first film in Phase 6, and then Avengers is going to be the last film.
Well, you want to start off just by running through the phases?
Yeah, let's skip Phase 4, but
we could just say Phase 4, there's 2 more left, basically.
Yeah.
There's
Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever, and then on the TV side, there's She-Hulk. That's it.
Yeah. Which they showed a new trailer for She-Hulk. I don't know if they showed that at Comic-Con specifically.
So here's what they've shown for Phase 5. February 17th, 2023, Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania. Logo looks a little different. It's got like a bunch of different colors on it.
They changed
I saw somebody refer to it as looking like a theme park ride or something. And I'm like, yeah, kinda. Then in spring 2023, we have Secret Invasion coming to Disney Plus. That's one with Sam Jackson. They also announced for Secret Invasion, they announced that Martin Freeman's character from Black Panther is
okay.
Somebody else
that's
too.
right.
I can't remember who. Somebody else that's been in some other MCU movies.
You know who's going to be in it. What's her name? Maria Hill.
Yeah, that's it. That was the other one I'd forgotten about.
Yeah.
Which is, she's kind of obvious. Martin Freeman's a little bit more of a surprise, but it's really cool, you know. The next one listed here is summer 2023 Echo debuts, and we know now that Daredevil's in that, right? Wasn't there another person we know is in that? Isn't there somebody else in Echo that they announced?
Yeah, Kingpin.
Okay, so they're both in Echo. Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't announced at Comic-Con. Nothing, no new info about Echo was announced at Comic-Con.
Oh, okay.
It's just, it's Phase 5. That's all. All.
Then the next movie is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which, I can't wait for. It's been too long. I can't wait.
That's gonna be, they showed
May 5th,
they showed a clip to Comic-Con attendees only. It's not public. James Gunn went on Twitter and clarified that Disney and Marvel weren't the ones holding it back. He was holding it back because the VFX was unfinished and unpolished. And he said, like, it's the kind of thing he felt comfortable showing Comic-Con attendees, but he doesn't want it on the internet because it doesn't hold up to scrutiny or repeated views.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the reason why.
I could understand that. We'll probably see it in a couple of months or something when they've updated some of the VFX shots, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe even a shortened clip.
The Guardians part of the panel was noteworthy because, like, everybody had, like, a big old cry fest at that panel. Like, James Gunn was crying. And James Gunn, like, basically announced that, yeah, this is as far as he's concerned, this is the final Guardians movie. He said every story has to end. Marvel can do more Guardians in the future, but it's not going to be with James Gunn.
Yeah. And then a lot of the cast have already said that they're going to be done with it also once, you know, Drax, for example, said that he's done with Guardians after this too. So.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that. The clip you're talking about was described as a big tearjerker involving Rocket. Yeah,
apparently this film is going to go into the origins of Rocket, which is going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm. And they also, talking about, like you talked about with The Rock doing a big spectacle or a full costume reveal. They did a full costume reveal on Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, the High Evolutionary, yeah.
Yeah, which is the dude from Peacemaker.
Awesome. Yes, awesome. That looked really cool.
Yeah, I only saw some pictures of it, but he looked like really, really happy and psyched to be there. So that was cool to see.
Oh, yeah.
He was so good in Peacemaker, and it's like, yeah, you could just see how excited he was was to be in this. That was really cool. And then later on, they announced the voice of, what's the dog's name in it? It's not Cosmo, it's right.
No, it's Cosmo.
It's Cosmo? Okay, yeah. So the Cosmo dog is, going to be voiced, apparently, and it's going to be the girl from the new Borat movie. The one that kind of blew up in the new Borat movie, but the scene with her and Rudy Giuliani.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So she's going to be voicing that dog in this movie, apparently, which, is pretty interesting. So, the next, thing we have coming up is summer 2023 Loki season 2. I figure this was going to be the case because, Kang's involved in the Loki series and they got to kind of get to that, soon because they're already going to have another appearance by Kang in Quantumania. So, if you're going to have him be a central part of your story, then you got to do it quick. You can't wait for after phase 6 or something,
Right. Yeah.
So that's going to get a fairly quick turnaround time, and that'll be in summer 2023. Besides that, they didn't really announce anything new for that, I don't believe. And then in July, we have the Marvels coming. I don't think we got anything new for that either, did we?
No new information on the Marvels.
We just had Ms. Marvel, ended with a tease for that. So, we got in November 2023, Blade, finally. It's nice to see that that's still coming.
Yes. I'm so excited for Blade.
We got a voice cameo in Eternals.
We got a voice in Eternals, which suggests that Jon Snow's character is going to be a part of the Blade movie.
Yeah. Hopefully. That would be cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Mahershala Ali in costume.
Oh, I can't wait either. That's going to be freaking amazing.
Yeah. I wonder when that's going to happen. Probably next Comic-Con. I bet you they're going to do that'll be the costume reveal, like character in costume reveal is going to be Mahershala Ali.
Maybe if Marvel attends next Comic-Con, because, it's not guaranteed they attend.
Yeah, that's true. And then fall 2023, Ironheart, which just had a bit with,
she's going to be introduced in the new, Black Panther film, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, we got some brief clips of her in the trailer for that, which we'll discuss later. But yeah, that was really cool just to see that that's going to be playing a part in it. There's also heavily rumored now that Dr. Doom is going to be playing a part in Wakanda Forever and is going to be tied into the Ironheart character as well.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, kind of as a behind the scenes kind of thing though, like, vaguely hinted at kind of thing instead of seen.
I'm really nervous about Dr. Doom because they have to nail that character. They have to nail that.
I don't think we're going to see him for quite a while.
Right.
I think we're going to hear, it's going to be like, what was the movie? There was a movie where they mentioned Wakanda. I can't remember which one it was. One of the Marvel movies, like they just briefly mentioned like, that's from Wakanda or something.
They mentioned a lot of things in random movies.
Oh, it's probably Age of Ultron, I think, where they mentioned Wakanda because they had the vibranium and stuff. And then there was like later on in, I think it was either in Infinity Wars or Endgame, they made a brief allusion to Atlantis. Like they didn't say it specifically, but they hinted at it.
Which they shouldn't have because it's not Atlantis anymore. At least.
Well, they didn't even say it by name. So they just said there was something happening in the ocean or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So they didn't name drop it. Then that's
no. They just, it was in like comic fans saw it easily and knew exactly what they were talking about, But like everybody else, it was just like a blink and you miss it kind of reference. I think that's going to be the Doctor Doom stuff we're going to get, like initially.
Maybe.
We're going to get like little kind of hints that something's up with some guy involved in something somewhere off screen that we're not seeing. I think that's how we're going to get Doctor Doom for a while. He's going to be built up like that before we actually ever see him.
Right.
Then in winter 2023/2024, so I'm guessing that's going to be coming out. Either they haven't decided.
Well, like, speaking of Ironheart, we know Alden Ehrenreich, who was in the Solo movie, has officially been cast for a role in Ironheart. And some people are speculating that he's going to play Zeke Stane, who is Obadiah Stane's son, and was a major Iron Man villain.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was the first villain from the first Iron Man movie, so.
Yeah, well, this is going to be his son, apparently.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Because it was, like I said, he was the first villain his father was the first villain of the first Iron Man movie, the first movie of the MCU, so that kind of like, bringing that in, it would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting for sure.
But the next thing we have is, it says winter 2023/24, so it's either going to be covering both, like it's going to start in December and end in January, or it's like they haven't yet decided exactly where they're placing it. is the Agatha series, which got a name change.
Yeah, they
It used
changed
to be
it.
House of Harkness. Now it's Coven of Chaos.
I gotta be honest, I prefer the new name.
I don't know
It just
mythology tied to the last name, so I don't really have a stake in it.
the mythology tied to the last name is her name is Harkness.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't know
like,
if there's like other Harknesses in the Marvel universe somewhere.
I don't know, probably. Not that I'm aware of.
I didn't know if they were going to play on that or anything, but I think they should have just called it Agatha all along.
I wonder if this is going to be set in the past, like a prequel to WandaVision, or what's going on with this. I have no idea.
Well, brief spoiler warning for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Okay, get a little time. Okay, now, brief spoiler. Wanda apparently died, so could that maybe have had an effect on her spell she put on Agatha?
Perhaps. Maybe. Yeah. That's a good connection there. Yeah, perhaps like what happened to Wanda at the end of Multiverse of Madness, like cut off the spell over Agatha, and now she's free to reign chaos again.
Well, there's no more Darkhold
in her own series. Yeah.
So she's going to have to figure out something else. So that it could actually make it kind of interesting. Because if the Darkhold was holding some power over her and maybe some of that's lessened, we know that doesn't just go away because we saw the way it affected Doctor Strange at the end, But I wonder if there's going to be something playing with that. Because in the comics, apparently she varies. Like I don't really know much about the character, but she goes like sometimes she's a good character and sometimes she's bad.
I'm interested in the series, hopefully, because like I hope it does more to flesh her out, because she really disappointingly ended up as a cartoon villain at the end of WandaVision. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking for, especially since Catherine Hahn is so great, I'm looking forward to seeing this character given more depth.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we will because she's got her own series,
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Next up.
This one I'm really freaking excited about.
Spring 2024, Daredevil Born Again. Right off the bat, the big news that Kevin Feige couldn't wait to announce about this. 18 episodes. Which for a Disney Plus show is like 3 seasons.
Yeah, this is the most episodes of Disney Plus show. This is more episodes than any season of the Daredevil, like, Netflix series got. Like, this is insane.
The Daredevil Netflix, most of those were 13, I think, and I think season 3 might have been less. I don't know.
Yeah. So, like, it's 18 episodes. That's almost like a full season of, like, traditional, like, television. Mm-hmm. Like, those got, like, 22 or something episodes.
And they did confirm Vincent D'Onofrio is going to be in this one as well.
Yes. Vincent D'Onofrio is coming back.
He's got to be in it,
Yeah. They haven't confirmed any other casting, but I'm hyped. I mean, the big question is, like, obviously there's going to be a lot of scrutiny of how this lives up to the previous series. So I just hope that they're ready to come in and, like, knock it out of the park.
Mm-hmm. And then we got Captain America, New World Order, first title reveal for the Captain America 4.
The first Sam Wilson film for Sam Cap.
Yeah.
That's gonna be cool. Yeah, Capsum.
Doesn't that sound like a foot odor remover? Like, hand me that bottle of Capsum.
That's gonna be cool. I no idea what the plot's gonna be for this, but
apparently there is a run of the Sam Wilson Captain America comics called New World Order. And there's another one. There was a rumor that it was gonna be titled Red, White, and Black, which is another run of the Sam Wilson comic series. So, I don't read like any of the comics really. Like my time with Marvel Comics was in the like mid 90s and it was all X-Men stuff.
Right.
Like I don't really have too much knowledge beyond that. My knowledge is mostly with the MCU or like watching videos of people talking about it, so I don't really know too terribly much. Did you kind of stopped reading before that kind of run happened, didn't you?
Yeah, I kind of fell out of comics before that run happened. So I'm not too familiar with the newer stuff.
Yeah. I don't really know. I mean, that's the stuff that kind of deals a lot with like racism and stuff, apparently. It kind of went the same road as the Captain America comics before did with Steve Rogers when they did the whole like, where he became, what was his other name he went by when he got like disillusioned by the government or something?
Oh, I forget.
There was like a run where he was disillusioned with the US government.
Yeah, I remember that.
Captain America. It's like, it's kind of similar to that in that it's like more politically leaning as far as the ideas of like, you know, being disillusioned with the government and dealing with that and racism and stuff like those kind of like things that we got in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And it seems like it's going to continue here. It's the same writer that was the showrunner. We got a new director working on it, but it's the same writer.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's probably fair to say it's going to kind of feel probably a bit like Falcon and Winter Soldier, but you know, probably with a more like focused plot.
Right.
But that's it for Phase 5.
No, that's not it for Phase 5. You forgot Thunderbolts.
That's the picture I got. Hold on. They didn't have Thunderbolts in the picture I'm looking at.
Okay, you're looking at the wrong
Thunderbolts
picture,
is ending the
Yes,
phase.
it's the last film. This is going to be the big villain team up. They started teasing Thunderbolts in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Before you go further, we should address that Thunderbolts had been rumored for a while. This was the first confirmation of it, I believe. It had been heavily rumored for a while, but we thought it was going to be like a Disney Plus show.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be a show. This is going to be a full-fledged feature film.
Yeah.
This is not the Disney Plus show, which makes it more interesting to me that this is going to be a film.
It's got a little bit of a sad challenge to it, similar to like what Black Panther 2 is going to have, because the actor who played Thunderbolt Ross has passed away.
Yeah, but
so
I'm
going to have to like
honest.
write around that.
To be honest, he's not a critical character in like Thunderbolts mythology. Like he was involved in some iterations of the team, sure, but he wasn't involved in the first iteration of the team or anything. The team certainly isn't named after him.
It isn't?
No.
I think they're going to name it after him in the MCU though.
Maybe.
That's a nice way to honor the actor, an actor who's passed away, is to have like a little throwaway
Basically,
line.
the initial team of the Thunderbolts, like, the concept was like, this happened during Heroes Reborn, and the whole thing with Heroes Reborn is after fighting Onslaught, the Fantastic Four and the Avengers disappeared completely, or like they apparently died.
Oh, was Thunderbolts the Doctor Doom one?
No,
Norman Osborn, right?
No. So what happened? So after the Avengers and the Fantastic Four disappeared, the Thunderbolts showed up out of nowhere to declare themselves the new protectors of humanity, and everybody welcomed them, and it turned out that they were secretly the masters of evil in disguise, taking advantage of the situation. So was
that the one where they were dressed up as the other characters?
No. So the leader of the team was Citizen V, who was like an American, patriotic themed superhero. He wielded like a sword. In reality, he was Baron Zemo. And there was other characters like Songbird and Atlas who are also like supervillains in their off identities.
There's so many Marvel teams of anti-heroes or villains that are actually like I've been confused the whole time. I keep saying, is this the one that's like this? And you're like, no, because there's so many other ones. So
even the Thunderbolts themselves have went through various different teams and iterations.
Yeah. Marvel's pretty good at doing that, at varying up the teams.
What you were thinking about specifically was the Dark Avengers.
Was that the one that was Norman Osborn? Yeah.
Yeah, that was Norman
pretended
Osborn's
to be Iron Man
team.
or something, I think, or...
Yeah, Norman Osborn he branded himself the Iron Patriot, and then he had, Wolverine's son, Daken, as Wolverine, and Venom masquerading as Spider-Man, and Bullseye masquerading as Hawkeye.
Yeah.
That was that whole thing.
So what is our Thunderbolts team gonna be for the MCU?
So
I mean, it seems obvious it's gonna be Yelena and, US Agent.
Yeah, so here's the team I'm speculating. So Kevin Feige officially at Comic-Con said that the Thunderbolts team will be a mix of characters that we've met and characters that we haven't met yet. So I think it's going to be US Agent, it's going to be Yelena, it's going to be Abomination. They're setting him up because they're bringing him back in She-Hulk.
Shang-Chi and She-Hulk, yeah.
Yeah, they're setting him up, so it's going to be Abomination. I think it's going to be Zeke Stane, Alden Ehrenreich, coming out of Ironheart. He's going to join the Thunderbolts. And after that, it gets hazy. Some people are speculating Deadpool will be part of the team, or maybe the Punisher will be on the team.
That'd
but I don't
know.
But I think at least like the first four I named are like a lock for the team.
Yeah, and there's probably going to be other characters that we're going to meet through some of these shows.
Yes.
And movies that are going to pop up.
Kevin Feige said there's going to be people on the team that we haven't yet met in the MCU. So.
Yeah. Hey, we have a Blade movie coming up. Maybe there's going to be like a vampire on the team. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, exactly.
Maybe Dracula will be on the team.
Yeah.
And Moon Knight can finally get his money.
Yeah, he can finally get his money. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, though. That's going to be a cool movie.
Anyways, that is Phase 5. Phase 6, they only announced 3 movies for, starting with the first movie of Phase 6. Is going to be in November 2024, and that is the Fantastic Four. I know you are super psyched for this. Rumors are that it's not going to be Krasinski playing Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, I saw the rumors. I'm still hoping they're not true. I think Krasinski he was great in Multiverse of Madness. It just seems a shame if they used him just for that one movie.
Mm-hmm.
Do the right thing, Marvel.
I think it depends on what they're going for, though. You know,
if they're going for
Krasinski's older. If they're going for something younger.
Here's a hint. This just came out today too, where Kevin Feige apparently said today, or it was reported today, that Fantastic Four will not be an origin story. They're not doing the origin of the team and this.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to be the Fantastic Four when we meet them.
Well, we know that this whole saga, so Phase 4, 5, and 6, they announced the name of the saga, basically. Like, it was the Infinity Saga was the first, 3 phases. And now we know these 3 phases are...
Multiverse Saga.
Yes. And so it makes sense that they could be... You don't have to have an origin story. It would be weird to have the Fantastic Four without an origin story, considering how prominent the characters are. Like, the world's smartest man and these research scientists and these big names, to not have them be a part of Marvel, but suddenly be this huge deal out of nowhere.
No,
it's
when they did that with Spider-Man, I could buy it more easily that Peter Parker was probably operating at a low level in New York, and trying to keep a low profile.
But Reed Richards would be too big of a public figure,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's, but this is the Multiverse Saga, so they could do that. They could have them be some prominent figure from that, or they could do, as I said, there was a rumor I read that I actually thought was kind of clever that says that basically they were going to start introducing elements of the Fantastic Four in the next Ant-Man and the Wasp movie.
Yeah.
And that it's going to be that the Fantastic Four were from a bygone era, and now they're trapped in the quantum zone or something.
Yeah, in the quantum realm, and they get freed from the quantum realm.
Yeah, and that would be kind of an interesting way to do it as well,
Right.
Because you kind of get that man out of time aspects with that, which I love. That's one of my favorite things. That's one of the things I'm most sad about Chris Evans not being Cap anymore, is specifically because I love that man out of time aspect of his character. So if they find a new way to kind of bring that trope into the MCU, then I'm all for that. So then we have a lot of blank spots on this phase after Fantastic Four.
Yeah, a lot of blank spots, and then we get to 2 Avengers movies apparently coming out in the same year.
Yeah,
so
not just in the same year, 4 months apart, or not 4 months, 6 months apart.
Avengers, the Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, and they've recently announced a director for that outside of Comic-Con.
Yeah, it's the director for Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
They've lined up a bunch of directors for these projects now, but I'm not going to go into that. This will run longer than I want it to if we start naming every director they announced. And then Avengers Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Which I'm really excited. This is obviously not going to be based on the original Secret Wars that had nothing to do with the multiverse. It's going to be based on the 2015 Secret Wars, which was fully about the multiverse.
I heard that the original Secret Wars just really wasn't that great, and that the one you're referring to, the multiverse one, was highly, highly regarded.
Oh, I guess. I don't know. When I was a kid, people seemed to love the original Secret Wars.
All my knowledge of it is secondhand anyway, so I could be completely wrong, but that's what I've heard other people saying.
So the original Secret Wars was a being called the Beyonder transported all the heroes and villains in the Marvel universe to another planet called Battle World, and then challenged them to fight to see which team would come out the victor. Spider-Man gets his black suit. It's nothing to do with the multiverse there. 2015 Secret Wars still involved the Battle World, but in this version, it was all about what they'd been building up to with Secret Wars was the concept of incursions, which was this idea of all the universes in the multiverse were moving through the multiverse and they were colliding with each other and destroying each other.
Which we've already had in the MCU with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, we saw an incursion universe and it was mentioned, so that was a big call out to Secret Wars right there.
You know, another interesting thing about Secret Wars is that after Endgame, in an interview with the Russo brothers, they said, would they come back to Marvel? And they said they would for Secret Wars if they made a Secret Wars movie.
Feige confirmed that they are not involved in either Avengers movie. Yep. Feige said at Comic-Con that Russos are not involved in either Avengers movies, but he loves the Russos. He'd love to work with them again, but it's not happening for these projects.
And then he flipped them off.
Yeah.
He walked off stage. Said, how dare you use Chris Evans in your new movie?
yeah, in your new movie. Yeah, exactly. But no, what I was saying, so eventually these incursions, they come to a head and they result in a new version of Battle World, which is like a singular universe that encompasses like all these multiverses. So like everybody in the multiverse apparently exists simultaneously now on Battle World. So at the point where there's multiple Tony Starks, a battalion of Thors wandering around doing protection, stuff like that. I'm not too up to where the story goes from there, but it gets crazy.
I wonder if they're gonna, how far beyond, because they're gonna do something akin to No Way Home with like having some past actors show up and stuff like that, that we thought were gone. They're gonna push for that. Who knows how much of that they're gonna achieve, but I wonder how far they're gonna go. And it's funny because there were so many rumors about, like, for instance, Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. There was a huge rumor that Tom Cruise was gonna be playing Superior Iron Man. As part of the Illuminati.
Yeah. That didn't happen, obviously.
But that was like, fans wanted that. They thought it was a really cool idea. It was around. Now they got a couple of years.
Right.
If you think about it, Kevin Feige, the reason we got John Krasinski in Multiverse of Madness in that cameo was because fans wanted it.
Yeah.
And Feige recognized that. So I wonder if Feige's had a meeting with Tom Cruise.
It's possible.
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise was originally up for the role of Tony Stark, so that'd be really cool to see.
Yeah. Gonna have Leonardo DiCaprio Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Just talking about like people that were up for the role before but didn't get it.
Yeah. I mean, Secret Wars has the potential to be absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's the cap for the, of what we got for the phases for Marvel. The last couple things to talk about with Marvel is the 3 trailers we got.
Yes.
So we got, let's start
quickly.
weak. Let's start with the weakest one, which was I Am Groot, which was officially announced as not canonical to the MCU. Okay. So these are just shorts. These are just like fun shorts and there's nothing canonical about them.
Honestly, I
believe that the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special is still supposed to be canonical, but this is not.
Yeah, I don't think, without going into it too much, I don't think any of the animated shows are really like canonical. That's fine.
They said What If is kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's canonical in that you could say, oh, this is the multiverse, which is fine.
And they also said Spider-Man Freshman Year is going to be canonical.
It's not. There's way too many continuity errors and discrepancies for it to actually be canonical. I don't want to go into it right now. But
it could be canonical from a different universe.
Yeah, it's a different universe from the
We're in the multiverse. MCU. We're in the multiverse saga after all.
Yeah,
so
if you
all
use the multiverse. Yeah, you can use the multiverse. Excuse, but yeah, it's not the canonical to mainline MCU.
It's not 616.
Right.
But yeah, so I Am Groot, I mean, it looks cool. It doesn't really look important.
No, I mean, it's just shorts. It's nothing crazy. Yeah,
I mean, they look like they could be fun. I think about them about the same way I think about like the Pikmin shorts that Miyamoto made.
Wakanda Forever was a much better trailer, obviously. Like, that was the big trailer that we got. I don't think we got a trailer bigger than Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, that trailer was all about grief.
And yeah, it's about grief. It's about loss. They showed, they confirmed that T'Challa is passed away in universe. They had that big mural to him.
There was a scene where his mother said that she lost her whole family, and I've heard that that's going to refer to that takes place before the Endgame.
Yeah,
that could be a scene before Endgame, and Shuri would have been smart too.
You could tell that the film is a love letter to Chadwick Boseman.
Yes,
you can tell. And also, the other exciting thing is we're getting the introduction of Namor to the MCU. It's going to be Submariner. It's going to be a little different because he's not an Atlantean anymore. they completely changed the underwater nation that he's from. Apparently, I've heard it's because they want to avoid comparisons to Aquaman, or they don't want to, like, be accused of ripping off what Warner Bros. DC is doing.
Wasn't Namor actually first?
Yeah, he was actually first, but I think it's one of those things where, like,
most people don't think he's first.
DC got Aquaman out first, and they decided based on that to go in a different direction with Namor.
Well, also, I mean, but even besides that, it's just that even when people think about comic books, if somebody said, oh, there's a Marvel character named Namor, they'd say, who?
Right,
and if you said there's a DC character named Aquaman, they'd go, oh yeah, the fish guy.
Yeah, the fish guy,
And then if you describe Namor, you'd say, oh, so he's an Aquaman ripoff. Like, that's without any movies, just like going off of the
But he looks really cool in this movie, though. Like, the way they did him looks really awesome.
The scene where he turns around with the headdress, that looked badass.
Yes. And so he's going to play a major role in this film. Other than that, plot's unknown. They didn't reveal who exactly is going to be stepping up as the new Black Panther.
Seems like it's going to be Shuri.
Yeah, seems like it's going to be Shuri, but that's still a mystery as far as anything official goes. But yeah,
apparently there's already been some toy leaks that kind of apparently say who it is.
But it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah. It looks really good. I mean, it looks a lot better than the first movie as far as, like, visually, you know? They stepped up their game on it even more so. Like, that was one of the best things about the Black Panther movie was, like, the style aesthetic, you know? And they really seem like they stepped that up in this. Like, the shots with the white funeral stuff is just gorgeous. So it'd be interesting to see kind of where they go with that, with a story that's probably going to be largely about grief and also going to be introducing, you know, Ironheart and stuff like that. Possibly introducing kind of our first concepts of Doctor Doom. Yeah, as like I said, probably is like a vague hint. There's a lot of cool stuff that could be coming in this movie.
Yeah, we gotta wrap this up.
We got one more Marvel trailer. We got the new trailer for She-Hulk.
Yeah, She-Hulk.
Which is, I think, is a lot better than the last trailer.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. I'm a lot more positive on it. They showed
I love the opening shot.
The opening shot, they showed a lot more of her with Bruce and like a lot more of like the MCU elements.
They showed some fourth wall breaks.
Some fourth wall breaks. They showed, the Abomination, who she's going to be like representing. They showed Titania in the trailer. And, they showed our favorite, the guy that Phase 4 has been all about this whole time.
The Phase of Wong.
Yeah,
Wong.
Phase Wong. Like, yeah. Wong shows up in this. It looks like a fun time.
You know what's funny? This is like the year of Luigi. This is like the phase of Wong. And similarly, there's been a lot of criticism about Phase 4, and like people were talking about how the year of Luigi was like the worst year for like Nintendo and stuff. People were complaining about that at the time. Is Wong the MCU's Luigi?
Oh, yeah.
Are we gonna get the Wong death stare?
I don't know.
But anyways, yeah, I'm really looking forward to I was always looking forward to She-Hulk. I'm a big fan of Tatiana, who's playing the lead in it. We both were huge fans of The Good Place, so of course we're going to be excited for Jamil. And all the stuff looks good to me. People are still bitching about the CG. I think it looks fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It looks fun. I'm excited to see it.
Yep. And that is kind of it for our Comic-Con news. We have one final segment to just kind of wrap things up quickly before we go, and that is On the Horizon, because we have quite a few things coming up. On the horizon. So, starting off on our On the Horizon list, Reservation Dogs comes back for season 2 on Wednesday, August 3rd. This is a really good show. It's produced by Taika Waititi, about Native Americans. It's pretty good. Beavis and Butthead, we mentioned before, is returning on Thursday, August 4th on Paramount Plus. Prey, which is the new Predator movie about a native tribe being attacked by a predator, comes out on Friday, August 5th on Hulu. The Sandman is coming out on Friday, August 5th on Netflix. The rest of these are all August 5th, by the way. It's a packed August 5th. They, Them, which is a horror film about like gay conversion kind of therapy place or something, is coming on Friday, August 5th on Peacock. Bodies, 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 a new horror film. It's got Pete Davidson in it, coming to theaters on August 5th. Bullet Train, I'm excited for. This is the new Brad Pitt movie from the director of Deadpool that takes place on a bullet train. That is coming also on August 5th in theaters, as is Easter Sunday and I Love My Dad, which we talked about uncomfortably, I think, on our last podcast. So that is our On the Horizon segment, and that's it for our show. Next week, we are going to be discussing South Park, The Streaming Wars Part 1 and Part 2, as well as Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. All of those are available on Paramount Plus. That is going to be our Wednesday evening cartoon special next week. Looking forward to it. I need to re-up my subscription to Paramount Plus so I can watch all that stuff.
Yeah, nice. I've already watched Beavis and Butthead, but I'll be watching South Park.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the second part of the Streaming Wars, so I got two of those to watch still. But
nice.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about next week, so stay tuned for that. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can catch me on Twitter. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can catch Will. He is at Voxel Hero. Check out our website, thetotalscreen.com, and leave us a comment, if you can, on any of our stories, on our YouTube videos, or, the best place, as always, as I say, is on Twitter. It's the best place to contact us. So reach out to us there. But until next week, thank you, everybody, for listening. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the OnScreen podcast, the official podcast of The Total Screen. Visit our website at thetotalscreen.com. This podcast can be found on any major podcast client, including Pocket Cast and Apple Podcast. The entire backlog of this podcast and other content can be found on our YouTube channel.